Good morning, Facebook friends. I'm Donna from Parrotwood Memorial Library, and I wanted to share with you our new books that we have just received in the mail. We've got this one. It's called Women Make History, the 19th Amendment. We have 3 of these, so if you are interested in checking these out, I'll have them available Monday. And the Women's Hour, Fight for the Right to Vote. And one of my favorite ones is Around America to Win the Vote by Mara Rockliff. So I'm going to read this one to you, and I hope you enjoy it. On April 6th, 1916, a little yellow car set out from New York City. It carried tools, spare parts, a tiny typewriter, an itsy-bitsy sewing machine, one stout leather trunk bursting with useful things, 2 smiling women, and a wee black kitten with a yellow ribbon tied around its neck. The taller woman was Nell Richardson. The smaller one was Alice Burke. Together they planned to drive all the way around America. It was a great big country, but they had a great big cause. Votes for women, Alice told reporters. Votes for women, Nell agreed. They said the typewriter and the sewing machine were all part of their plan. If anyone said women didn't have the brains to vote, then Nell would dash a point off right then and there to prove they did. If anyone said they should cook and sew and leave running the nation to the men, then Nell would whip an apron up while Alice gave a speech to prove they could do both. And if the 2 of them could circle the United States 10,000 bumpy, muddy, unmapped miles, facing danger and adventure, all alone, with just each other and a kitten, in their little yellow car, well, that would prove that women could do anything. So off they went. Look at the beautiful hats. That very day they had their first adventure when a horse pulling a wagon down a narrow road refused to let them pass. Nell tied a Votes for Women yellow daffodil behind its ear. Then the horse stepped aside and let the little yellow car go on its way. So they put a daffodil on the horse's ear. In Philadelphia, they stood up on their seats to speak to the great city crowd. Men and women cheered. But the next morning, blizzard! Nell and Alice drove through howling winds, swirling snow to Baltimore. They're in a snowstorm. It's a blizzard. Woo! Where they arrived in time to be the guest of honor at a very fancy party. The next day, when they stopped for gas, a crowd of men clustered around the little yellow car. Alice hopped up on the seat to give her speech, but no one listened. So she told them all about the car instead. Votes for women, the men said, and waved as Nell and Alice drove away. After a quick visit to Washington, D.C., they came upon the bumpiest and muddiest road yet. The little yellow car went bump and slashed and finally got stuck. They huddled, wet and shivering, until the sun came up and 2 strong mules appeared to pull their car out of the mud. They had to stay there all night in the mud. In Virginia, Nell and Alice passed a school, and all the children ran to see the yellow car. They drove into North Carolina, passing fields of singing birds and butterflies and goldenrod. Goldenrod is flowers. In Georgia, they joined a circus parade. Their little car fit right in. Everywhere they met crowds, everywhere, Nell and Alice told them, vote for women. Outside Gulfport, Mississippi, the little yellow car finally found a mud puddle it couldn't cross. They sneaked the kitten onto the train, so they had to leave their car when they got on the train. And they took the kitten with them that had the yellow ribbon and smuggled it into a fine hotel in New Orleans. Then the little car arrived and they were on their way, so they had their car shipped to them. They had to be wealthy in order to do that. They dodged bullets by the Rio Grande, drove on through the desert of New Mexico, and got lost for days in Arizona, till finally they reached California, where they won a medal at the fair for driving all the way across America. But they still had lots of miles and lots of adventures on the road ahead. They went to Oregon, Washington, Montana, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, and the finish line. On September the 3rd, 1916, a little yellow car drove into New York City. It carried mud and dust and signatures and souvenirs from all around America. 2 smiling and sunburnt women and a fully grown cat. They arrived to a grand welcome. Votes for women! Votes for women! And a great big yellow cake. After 10,000 bumpy, muddy, unmapped miles, Nell was ready for a rest. And Alice, she turned right around and crossed the country all over again. So Alice went back. She liked that road. She liked to travel. And she was campaigning all that time. But this time, Alice took the train. She decided she wasn't going to take that little yellow car. So you think about a time when women was thought to they could only get married and have children, cook and clean and sew. These 2 women at a time in 1916, they were well ahead of their time. They took it upon themselves to drive a car across America and to tell people how important it was to let women to vote and their voices be heard. We have a wonderful display down here for the parents and the children to come and enjoy. And it talks about the women's rights. It's the 100th year anniversary of the 19th Amendment. So come on down to Parrotwood Library, and we'd love to see you. Y'all have a good day.